So this is the Manticxre's Tavern number 2. This is a 20 lore tournament, and it is for prizes. So we'll see how we can do today. Pabby's not amazing, but it's pretty okay in this matchup. Our hand is fine. Not as good as last time, but it's still okay. We'll go ahead and pass, which means that we don't really need these Teeth and Ambitions. So we can ink one and do one jump ahead. We'll need to find some draw soon, but it'll be fine. Oh no, first to 20. Rip. Alright, so they didn't start with an item. We get rid of one of these teeth. Play our one jump ahead here and just say go. Ideally, what we're looking for is some sort of a draw engine. And then once we have a draw engine, we can play the Shield of Virtues. We'll probably hold off on those as long as I can. Alright, so they ban a Flabbersham. They play a Queen of Hearts. Okay. Given that they have a Queen of Hearts, we may be able to just answer that with the Maui. So let's get rid of the other Teeth and Ambitions for now and just say go. Since we're up on ink a little bit, we can bully them some with our Maui. At least off of any early real aggression. And it makes their Flabbershams a little awkward as well. Alright, Aladdin's fine. If they quest with this, we'll get them. Yeah, there will be W's. We'll do our best. We'll be awkward if we have to bin a shield, but I will do that if it's a better card. Yeah, this is fine. We'll get rid of this. Slam our Maui here. Maui bops the queen. Say go. Aladdin's interesting in this deck. I don't personally opt for the Aladdin line, given that I think that the 7-drop one is a little slow, personally, but I can understand why people are running it. I mean, if they shift here, it's fine. We don't have any lore to lose. If they kill the Maui, it's kind of whatever. Eye of Fates. Interesting. Okay. They opt to bash. Okay. I think we'll just bash. Since we have the Tamatoa, I think I'll get rid of a Shield of Virtue here and play towards that. We don't necessarily need to heal the Maui. There's not much that they can do that are going to blast it. Hey, Manticxre, how are you? We ended up just restarting game 1 because they didn't see the reset that we ended up getting paired together again. It's fine. We should have plenty of time to finish our games. Not a big deal. A little bit of a bumpy start, but it should be fine. Growing pains of the new events, of course. Let's grab a Popsicle here. Popsicles are great. Play it. We get a Gothel. We do have the Pabby as well, but it's a bit early. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It is growing pains. Hey, Nerd House Gaming. I think I'll get rid of that, and then I'm going to actually Popsicle once here. Not because I necessarily care about healing this one, but because I want to get the popsicle in the bin so that I can get it back. Hey, Nerd House Gaming, I do appreciate the follow as well. Yeah, blocked. Didn't join this one. No more tournaments to be had. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot right now. It's a lot of Eye of Fates, though. Kind of scary. I don't think we need this develop. We can get rid of it and then just go for the Tamatoa. And get the popsicle and then say go. Neither of us have really drawn that many cards this game. So if they bin a thing and then they board wipe here, that's fine. They choose not to Dragonfire the Tamatoa. Okay. That is something that they can do. An interesting choice. So their queen is going to quest for 4. Probably just going to Lady Tremaine, honestly. I'm thinking we Lady Tremaine this. Tamatoa. We could also Scar, but I think the Tremaine is... Well, maybe the Tremaine is more useful later. Maybe we do Scar it. Because then we can Popsicle here, get the Popsicle back, which I think is going to be a pretty strong line. Do this, draw. We will use one of these. Quest for 2. Get the Popsicle back. I guess I can just pass. I don't necessarily need to turbo this. I would have liked an ink, but I'd rather have the items to make the Tamatoa a little bit more impactful. Tamatoa of their own. No items in their bin, so Tamatoa is pretty vanilla. So they have no cards. That's fine. I have no problems with that. Especially now that we have a Quill here. Let's start with the Popsicle. Popsicle draws us into a Maui. We can get rid of the Maui. We can play a Quill, ink the Be Prepared, and then say go. I think the Ruby Amethyst bounce deck is very good, and I think it has a lot of cards that overlap this as well. It's not that difficult to get into both of them once you have one, which I think is kind of neat. I think we get rid of this again, and then just say go. We don't really need to go that fast. Running out the Pabby really doesn't solve our problem necessarily here. And I can just wait until they play something, and then I can get it with the Tremaine, and then at least we get value out of it. I would recommend not Popsicling right away. I think I'll Maleficent instead, because it's more expensive. So we'll just blast this and say go. This gives us something that we can start questing with at least. And now if they play any characters, we still have the Tremaine as a follow-up, which is a bit cheaper. Popsicle only heals. I don't think you necessarily need to use it right this second. We'll do this. We can Popsicle ourselves, so we can get it back with Tamatoa. Do this. Draw Popsicle. Play Popsicle. Draw Hops. We can maybe save the Hops to draw a card next turn. We can play Hops to pop a Popsicle. Crab God, indeed. Popsicle's a good recycle. Another rebuy, fair enough. Into a Crab God of their own, but with nothing in the bin. They could have chosen to sacrifice the Popsicle to get it back, but I can understand why they might not. So let's Tremaine. I would like to make it so that they really don't have many turns to figure out how to come back from this. So we're going to play the Judy Hops. We're going to pop a Popsicle here. Draw a card. And then we'll quest, Popsicle, play the Popsicle, draw a card. We will ink the Be Prepared and then say go. And now if they do board wipe us, we have another Tamatoa as a follow-up. But if not, they're just dead this turn. That's fine. All right, that'll be game one. All right, so that's game one. We will run it back. We are 1-0 so far, anyway. This hand is kind of mid. Remains okay, but not great. I think we'll keep this. We'll probably cast this on like turn 3 or something. Honestly, we could maybe start with it. Nah, I'd rather start with the Popsicle. No, not really. It still has a pretty big weakness to aggro, though I have changed the deck quite a bit since some of the early versions so that it doesn't struggle quite as much just generically against aggro. I run out a lot more Gothels on 2 just because the 3 power threatens a lot of what they're doing. That's a lot of DYBs. I think we'll play the 1 jump ahead first, though. I'm not that worried about a random Queen of Hearts, though it does put a little bit of pressure on. I think we have enough wiggle room to just play the game that we have in hand and then clean this up in a few turns. Though obviously something like an Eye of Fates would be a little bit more threatening. Does this quest for more? Does not, but it does have more health, so the Teeth and Ambitions doesn't really get it anymore. So it is very possible that we're just going to need to bin the Teeth. Let's do one of these. We'll get a Popsicle, play the Popsicle. Do another one. We'll get a Fishbone Quill for next turn. We don't need the Teeth and Ambitions. We can do another one of these. I assume that this isn't a princess. It is not. It's a queen. So I think I'll draw Be Prepared since we know that one's on the bottom now. And then we can set this up in a couple turns to catch whatever they've got. Hey, Flowcat, I appreciate the Prime sub. Thanks for the Basil Bucks. Nick Wild. But I don't think they found any Popsicles yet, so that's unfortunate. But it does put a lot more pressure on, so I'm glad that I kept the Be Prepared. Especially given that we can do this in 2 turns. It means that we're not in a terrible position here. This is our... third Maleficent that we're getting rid of. We Quill, and I think I can just get rid of the Poisoned Apple here. There's not really any princesses in this deck at all. I think I'm going to run out of Gumbo. Because in this matchup, I never ink that anyway. We can keep the 2 shields in case we need something for... in case we need something to draw with. Flaversham's a good draw. Luckily, we can clean it up with Be Prepared, but it does draw them more cards, which is not the best thing for us. Hey, Mason, appreciate the follow. 2 Mickey Taylors. Interesting. They'll go to 4. We can clean up the board with Be Prepared, and then we should have a bit of an ink advantage. Though we're about even on cards. I don't need to I don't need to ink these since we have the Quill here. It's about the same amount of ink next turn either way. And I would rather save them in case we draw the Workshop. So they got a Quill of their own. But luckily, because they... because they played out most of their things and we killed it, they don't have a ton more draw. So let's just get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions and say go. Shadow, appreciate the follow as well. Hope everybody's enjoying the gameplay so far. I hope that our matchups are a lot more of this and a lot less aggro today. We'll Hop's one of our Popsicles. Don't mind one being in the bin anyway. We can keep the Be Prepared just in case. But we are going to need to get some other draw cards soon here. But having one Popsicle in the bin is nice in case we draw our Tamatoa anyway. And I don't really care if they have Fishbone Quill. Flaversham is a good draw from our opponent. I believe that's their 3rd one. I don't think that they had a Popsicle yet, though, so luckily we can probably just quest with the Hops and then blast this. That way they don't get the opportunity to draw extra cards off the Flaversham. Yeah, I feel like we just Tamatoa next turn, since we're in a pretty commanding position here with what we've got already. I think we can just Wrath, play Tamatoa, get back to Popsicle and start doing that from a position where they don't have a ton of cards. Ooh, they run out the Maleficent Raw just to get something on the board. Well, I'm going to play my Tamatoa now. And I think we're going to get rid of our Teeth and Ambitions here so that we can Popsicle and then say go. I would still like a Workshop if we could have one. Because then we could use all this to draw cards. I don't think that we need our clock to be too much higher than this. Uh-oh. Interestingly, if they attack with the Maleficent, we can kill it with the Tamatoa, which I think I'm going to do. So we did draw a Workshop. Okay. So this is going to cost 5. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. So let's do this into this. Draw a card. So we don't have any items in the bin currently, so we want to use one of these because we'd like to get it back. So we want to... We can quest. I guess if we hit here, we won't get to untap twice. Maybe I don't care for one turn. I don't think I care for one turn. Let's just do this. Get the Popsicle back. We'll untap the Tamatoa. We can ink the Teeth and Ambitions here. Play the Popsicle, draw 2 cards. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so now I feel like we're in a pretty good spot, though they do have a Tamatoa. They don't have a ton of items to work with. Without a Popsicle going, they can't really draw extra cards with it. They found a Popsicle. We have a lot of draw in our hand, though. So we do have a secondary way out. We also just kill them if they don't do anything to interrupt this Tamatoa next turn. So there is always that. We'll just big crab them. Do they have an item in here? No. Because Big Crab is coming in for 8 right now. This is 9, 10, 11. So if I go like this, I can even draw an extra card. So this is 9, 10, 11. I guess we don't actually have to draw, but we should anyway. And then boom, done. Crab God it is. Alright, that will take care of game 1. Big Crab will do it. So that'll put us at 1-0. Big Crab will sometimes be good enough. Let's take a look here. Why is my Limitless plugin not working? Let's fix that. How do we fix that? Extensions? Extensions, and then Limitless. Oh, did they get rid of the app? They must have. It must not have been working right, because it does not appear to exist anymore. Yeah, it's not. Well, that takes care of that then, so just kidding. Well, anyway... Okay, so that takes care of round 1. Let me see how many players there are, and then that will give us an idea of what we're looking at here. So it looks like there are 9 players. Color-wise, we fought the only other Ruby Sapphire, so there's one probably miserable matchup from Bjornfort, assuming that they are on Hyper Aggro. There's a couple of tricky matchups in the Amethyst Rubies that are probably closer to like a coin flip. And then, oh, hey, perfect. Let me add a note here. Yeah. So we have a couple of rounds that we have to go yet. It should be, what, 4 rounds? Maybe cut to top 4? They could be on the 5-drop, like the Barf out 5-drops with Just in Time. I could see that for sure. I could see that for sure. But yeah, so we have a handful of Amethyst Ruby, a couple of Steel Songs, and then a Sapphire Steel. Luckily for us, actually, the Sapphire Steel got matched up against the Amber Amethyst. It is possible that that will result in a loss for them, given that... yes, I believe that there's only... Nah, it's fine. It's fine. We can speculate with the information that everybody has. I'm not too worried about it. Even this information, normally I wouldn't have access to in a real paper tournament anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. Generally, going in blind, I still mulligan about the same, because you never really know what their deck... Like, Amethyst Ruby tells you some information, like they're probably playing rabbits and goats and whatever, but beyond that, like, you have no idea if they're on Arthur, if they're on Spellbooks, if they're on a control-heavy version that runs, like, a bunch of items, or if they have no items. You know, you really don't know, because there's so many different builds of these decks now. Yeah, finish round 1 in Scout decks. I am on a little different... so I'm on the Bomb Pop Gumbo. I actually fixed the original Popsicle control list again, so that it just goes back to what that one looks like. I am on the Gumbo version that includes... basically, it's just taking out the noise, which are generally okay against aggro, but they're mostly for, like, the mirrors. And then I replace them with the Gumbo package. It's really not that different of a deck with or without it, which is why I'm in favor of having it rather than not having it. But I can appreciate the more consistent ink version. You know, you don't drop Habbies. You can ink... It's rare that you want to ink a Gumbo unless you absolutely have to, because the easiest way to combo is just with 2 Gumbos in play and a Popsicle. However, I can understand that it is not everybody's favorite to have that one-turn kill combo. But yeah, so it is not that different. I mostly just shaved on the some of the different cards. Like, the control version has a handful of noise, whereas the actual Gumbo version just doesn't have any. It just cuts them all for the other package. Otherwise, it's about the same. And then it goes up to 65 cards with the Develop Your Brain, which I found to be reasonable. I don't think that the sword is necessary. So I've ran the sword before, and it's good, but the problem with the sword is that it doesn't really help you in the matchups where you're not already favored, is sort of my conclusion on it. The matchups where you're favored, so the Poison Apple can allow you to exert any character. Like, it doesn't matter what you're hitting, you can always tap it. And then you can, run your Scar into it or your Maui or whatever. Whereas the sword, it can only target villains. It doesn't have any other side text for the additional cost. Like, they both technically cost 4 to use that same turn. But the apple ends up being a little bit better in that slot, I think. But yeah, basically that's what's happening is Scar is just like holding an apple and eating it at him so that he can bash. But the main reason that I don't need it is because I'm playing like the Pabbies and the couple of Gumbos. It allows me an opportunity to just not worry as much about those matchups because I have a way of closing the game that doesn't require that I beat them on resources. Because as long as I keep rough parity with them on like clearing the board and killing stuff until I get enough cards in my hand that I can just drop both Pabbies and win in one turn, then I don't need to, use my Tamatoas to kill their Maleficent Dragons and whatever. Like, it just doesn't matter as much as it does when you are on just a more traditional control pile where you would need those loops a little bit more. So I think if you're not running the Pabby, the sword looks a little bit better as well. And we also have to be careful because we added a couple more uninkables. We want to make sure to keep our ratio down. We're already at 19 uninkables. Without the Develop Your Brains, like, our ratio gets pretty rough for some of those. So then you end up inking a lot of your more valuable cards. Like, I very rarely want to ink a Popsicle, and I very rarely want to ink a Shield unless it's like my third one and I'm already so flush with cards that I don't need it. Because the Shields can be used with Flaversham to draw cards. They can be used with the Workshop to draw cards, and you want to have access to those resources to make sure that you can build up into these other things. But yeah, so we will see. Looks like we have one matchup left. It is Steel Song versus Amber Ruby. I would suspect that generally favors the Steel Song player, but again, it is sort of how the deck is dependent. No, I never really have had a problem with not having Nyx. My major issue with Nick is that if you don't have a Popsicle, Nick doesn't have really any text. It's just a 4-drop 2 lore character. It's like a 4-drop 2/4, which is fine. not exciting, but it's fine. But the issue is that I want to make sure that I have... How do I say this? Okay, if I already have a popsicle, I'm already in a good spot. So I don't need to worry about having more popsicles. Like, I don't need to get more value from my existing popsicles. If I already have one, I'm in a good spot. So if I don't have one, and if that means Nick is terrible, but if I have one, I'm already fine, then I don't... Yeah, Nick is win more. That's what I was trying to say. It's not necessary. It is good if you're not running the one-turn kill combo, I think, in some numbers, because it is a 2-lore character. So in some matchups, you can just get the popsicle back, draw the extra card with it, and it functions similarly like the Maleficent, like the 3-drop Maleficent, where it's just a thing that comes into play, gets you a resource back, but also is a little bit of a threat. Judy Hopps does a similar effect as well, where it can blow up your own things or their things, draw a card, or if you're banishing something, like usually that card is not as good as whatever you banished. And then it's just a 2-lore character to put a little bit of pressure on. I've been considering more Judys as well for this deck, because there's a lot of times when I'm blowing up like my own popsicles with the Judy, or just using them to gain no healing so that I can get them back with like a Tamatoa, for example. So it's interesting. I guess it depends on how relevant the destroying other things like the spellbooks. Yeah, exactly. So it is a good answer to spellbooks. It's a way of, if you're just really popsicle or item heavy, it's a way of drawing cards on 3. If you don't have Flaversham, it's a decent card. Especially in the version with Nick, I think a lot of Hopps is even better. If you can find room for them, obviously, because I think Mother Gothel is almost necessary for the deck, even if you're not playing the Pabby combo, because I think this is just the best answer to something like Arthur that this color combo has on 2. Arthur and some of the other 3-drops, especially with Popsicle, you can hit something, it stays alive. Because this has such a butt available to it, it makes the Gumbo Pots even better, because you can heal them a little bit, you can heal them with Popsicles, and you can get more than even value out of this card, which can be pretty nice if you can. Not always, but sometimes you can dig a little bit deep with it. Interesting note that it looks like the Amber Amethyst lost to Sapphire Steel. It's not necessary in a deck like this. So any of the cards that are aggressive are generally not necessary, because I don't really want to be playing a 5-drop to then be playing some 2-drops that are answers to stuff, when in 2 turns or even that same turn, I could just be casting, Be Prepared. Like, there is probably a version that plays on board a lot more, and plays things like Donald and closes a little bit differently. But the way that this deck plays out, the way that it's built currently, is you just don't need something that isn't coming into play and, answering another threat. Lady Tremaine or Maleficent. Scar can answer a couple of them, or this draws cards when it comes in. This answers items, this draws cards. Maui, is an answer to everything, as it always has been. Gothel's just a large character that also happens to combo with Pabby, which this is part of your win combo. Most of the cards that we're playing do something when they come into play, whereas Donald comes into play and does nothing. Like, nothing at all. My major issue with Gaston over Gothel is your ability to control when you attack with it. So if this is intended to be our threat and or answer to Arthur and other similar cards, you don't necessarily want it to be questing or to be attacking when you when you don't want to control it. Yeah, if we were playing the Cogs package, it would certainly be more viable. There could be a realm where you're playing a little bit more onto the board, You know, you're playing the Gastons, you're playing the Cog package to work towards the 5s. But again, what are we answering with that? Like, if we're changing away from Gothel, and we're changing to Gaston, and then the 6-drop Gaston, what are we answering that the deck struggles with? Like, what is that solving problem-wise? Is always a question that I have to ask. I just noticed that, like, half the deck is covered up by my overlay a little bit. We can change it to this, I suppose. Make it a little easier. So, like, the cards that this deck struggles against are things with 3 toughness that are early drops, something like Arthur, some of the rabbits. Obviously, we can deal with them a little bit with Maui. Simba can be problematic, another reason for Gothel. Like, basically, any sort of aggro package that's beating us down before we have the opportunity to, like, be prepared or scar and really clean it up. While we're spending our early turns doing ramp and doing item draw, like doing this sort of setup game, doing the 1 jump aheads into the Flavershams just to restock our hand. That early, like, item cycling to get stuff into the Inkwell. During those few turns, if your opponent is just like 2 lore thing, 3 lore thing, Arthur, does adding Gaston stop that? Does adding the Cogs package interrupt that sort of a play pattern? Sort of, but you can't really control the Gaston without other cards. And then if you're busy playing the Gaston, it means that you're not also playing some of your ramp and your draw cards. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. All right, looks like we are ready for game 2, or round 2, I suppose. Let me communicate with my opponent real quick here, and then we'll get into our game. Select this, select this. This is best of 3. So they are 50-minute rounds. They are timed, just like you would expect in a normal event. And that means that we get a random player who goes first, and then 2 and 3, then we get to alternate. So let's pick the same game name is fine. And then this will be game 2. Wait for our opponent to join here. Sorry about the ads, you're not really missing much anyway. Alright, so it looks like we're going second. Looks like a pretty good draw. I don't even know if I need to change any of the cards out, though it's not that great against aggro. I think it's okay anyway. Given that we have the Workshop and the Quill. Archimedes, interesting. Alright, let's get rid of this. I'll play my Popsicle out turn 1. Say go. I very well may play the Gothel on 2. We'll see if they play another character. Looks like this is probably a more control version than an aggressive one, if it has Gaston. Interesting. I think I'm just going to 1 jump ahead. This is not a particularly aggressive draw. We'll see if I can afford to play the workshop before I play something else. Like, I may have to get this Gothel down sooner than later, just to put a little bit of pressure on what they're doing. I could play the Fishbone Quill and then just ink the Develop Your Brain and then Gothel. And then the turn following I have like the Workshop Shield to start putting some of those into play as well. Kind of don't hate that. They could have Teeth and Ambition, so I'm going to just Popsicle it now. And then say go. If they double Teeth it, that's fine. That means that they blasted their board. But this way, at least we can threaten what they've got. They've gotten rid of 2 goats already. So that's good. We can at least challenge that, and it saves us a bit of lore. Interestingly, we could challenge more than one of them if we want. I may need this Maleficent. I don't think we're playing at a raw shield and just bashing 2 things is necessarily that good. I think I'm going to play this, do this, draw a card. Let's ink Maleficent here. I'm considering just dumping the Develop Your Brain for the Shield of Virtue here. But I don't think we need that much lore, or that much ink right away. I think I would rather cast this. Given that we hit this, we can ink the Shield of Virtue here and say go. We'll see what they hit Gothel with. I suspect the Kuzco, but it could be anything. I assume with the Gastons that they have a more control-heavy deck, but, I mean, it could be that they're running Gaston just as a reasonable card in the mirror as well. The Archimedes is what's interesting to me. Because generally, they'd been running the 1/3 1-drops instead of the 2/2. So we'll kind of have to see. They opt to quest. Okay, that's fine. Well, that is an alternative plan B. If we... No, I don't think it's that much of a choice. I think it's just this, let him draw 3 cards. And then say go. My assumption is that this Tamatoa is going to die as soon as we play it anyway, so... realistically, it kind of doesn't matter. Okay, let's do this and say go. And then next turn we'll get to draw a couple extra cards. It's very difficult to keep up with the card draw that this deck has, because they can play to the board while they're also drawing cards against us. The way that I generally tend to try and beat this deck is not with the Tamatoa. We're using that to draw cards here. Generally, the way that I'm able to beat this deck is I go for the Pabby combo. If I can stabilize the board and draw enough cards to get there. So we'll have to see if we can. Draw 2 cards, 2 Flabbershams. Gothel Maui. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to interact with what our opponent is doing is. My assumption is that they have Tremaine in hand. No, if they had a Tremaine, they would have just used it instead of the Dragonfire, though the Dragonfire let them also run out of threat. I'm opting to try and win the game instead of just delay the game. This makes them want to answer what I have, because the assumption is that I drew another item and then I'm going to be able to sort of pop off with it. But if they kill these, I don't really care, because I'm likely not going to use them anyway. But then I'm going to be able to scar and clean up what they have. Or they'll just be prepared and clean up their own problem. And that's fine. I don't think I need the teeth. Not this one specifically. We'll probably hold on to whatever the next one is. I think we do this. So 3 of the Maleficents are gone and 2 of the rabbits. So a lot of the junk is already gone. Here's a goat. Double goat. Goat and a Mim. Bouncing the goat. Okay, that's fine. I don't love it, but... This. Draw a card. This. Draw 3 cards. We ink the 1 jump ahead, and we play Tremaine. They might be able to just burn us out here. I think that's their plan. But if I can delay them a little more, I almost have enough ink to kill them in one go. But we are going to need to draw into it, of course. Use a Bouncing Rabbit, fine. They're drawing a lot of cards. That's okay. We can Maleficent the Yzma. This is 5/14, so we can start with the Quill. We can do this next turn. We don't need this Flaversham. I'm going to save the Gothel if I can, so we can combo with the Pabbies. We're looking for the other Pabby and then like 2 Gumbos. And that's pretty much it. So they play the Spellbook and they can't use it this turn. If we find Judy, we can just get rid of it. There's a Teeth, another Gothel. B-Prep we probably have to use. We found a Judy, we found a Gumbo. I kind of wish I had a shield so that I could untap the Maleficent to be prepared. Do I need 2 Gothels? This is 1, 2, 3, 4... 5. We don't need 2 Gothels. I could ink 3. To be prepared it and do the thing, but I don't think that makes sense. I'll just get this next turn. Because they'll put us to 15, 16 with the goat. That's still better than what they would be getting us to otherwise. I think I need 2 more turns to live. And then we'll be okay. But I need to live for 2 turns, which is tricky here, because I know that they have a goat in hand. And they have enough ink to play goat plus bounce goat. And if they do that, I don't think we have much of a shot here. If their play is just to play the goat, we might be okay. Okay, let's play this. Draw, draw. We have to play this and draw. Okay, so we can get rid of the goat. Let's just cast this. We can get rid of both of these. No. It's unnecessary. Do this. We let it go on the goat. We Judy hops the spellbook here. And I think that I ink a couple of things in my hand that we don't need. We definitely don't need the Maui for sure. Okay. We'll see if we're dead this turn. And if they goat bounce, we just die anyway. They have their 4th goat, I see. Okay, well, I guess we're dead there. You know, if you have all 4 goats, you have all 4 goats. Nothing I can do about it. We tried. We had to dig a lot, and we didn't really find the things that we were looking for, but that'll happen. Like I said, I thought we needed 2 more turns, and we just didn't have them. There was a spot where I think if we had a Shield of Virtue, we would have had enough ink to play more things in a go, but sometimes you don't have it. I would like a little bit earlier stuff. We can ink this. That is fine. We still have 33 minutes. We're fine. It felt long, but it really wasn't that long. We just drawn a lot of cards. That was a good draw, actually. It felt like 40 minutes, but no, it was not actually that too long of a game. Since we have the Be Prepared, I think I'm just going to run out the workshop, and we're just going to get rid of the Gothel. And then our intention is to start drawing cards with the workshop instead of just like straight quilling. They're not on a hyper aggressive draw this time where they went 1, 2, 3, so we have a little bit more wiggle room to play with. So we play this, draw a card. We ink one of these, and I guess I don't really want to get rid of Tamatoa, but... no. You can't really think that way. I try not to cast them if I don't need them, but the games where I get this on 2, like, it's not that big of a concern. This deck's pretty big. But if you do, I mean, sometimes you get it and you lose. That'll happen sometimes when you're playing combo decks. I actually think it is better to wait. Because we already have the Quill, like, I don't want to waste resources that we don't have. And we do have the Be Prepared to clean up a bit. Could even run out Tremaine here. I think I would rather just draw some cards, though. It lets you hit Flavor a turn early. Like, it just feels better on your... with your early turns, because you have access to more ink. Like, the deck is very ink-hungry in the first few rounds. I think we'll get rid of that. I'm likely going to Popsicle something and then just run out of Tamatoa early, rather than Be Preparing. They have a Mim in their deck? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. And they have Arthur. Where was this Arthur last game? I don't think I can let them Arthur for free. I'd rather just do that. Because if they play Tremaine and then just, like, Arthur it back to their hand, like, I don't know how we're gonna be winning that game. Spellbook is fine. This is not a particularly fast clock, and Gaston is irrelevant, so... we could Flaversham instead, since we are going to get to sack the Popsicle anyway. I think that's better. Teeth and Ambitions and another Flaversham. What if we just run out another Flaversham? Flaversham and a Maui. I need ink for the most part. So let's get rid of just all of this shit, I think. This way, even if they just board wipe this turn, which is fine, because then that means that they're not spellbooking anyway, then we just Tamatoa and we get to draw the 2 cards with the Workshop immediately. Tamatoa, Popsicle, draw 2 cards. We can Inca Let It Go. We don't really need all of them. We'll keep the Maleficent Dragon, though, since we can cast that on their Tremaine if they decide to play it. We're going to need to find Judy at some point. Dragonfire, sure. And then just draw 2 cards. That's fine. Let's play Flaversham. Be prepared to do a Pabby. That's an unfortunate draw. Not hitting an item here is not ideal. I'd like to ink at least one. I would be fine, I think, killing the Quill, since we're already at 12. There's more Quills to be found that we can get later. We'll see what our opponent does that we get to answer. I mean, if they Dragonfire it, that's fine. Can kill their Merlin and do something. Shield, draw. Shield, draw. Hops. Hops is pretty good. What if we ink one of these cards and then do Tremaine Hops to get rid of the Merlin? And then say go. And if their whole turn is board wipe, ink, go, then that's fine, I think. They have, like, all of the pieces in these colors in their deck, so I don't know where their concessions were that allowed them to fit them all in. I'm interested to see their deck list. Assuming that they have the full 4 Merlins, we know that they have the full 4 goats. Like, they also have Cusco's in here, too. Are they just going to flood the board with shitters? I guess they are. Okay. I really, really would have liked to draw a card spell there. Maybe we Maleficent the Mim anyway. Purple is really dumb. I can agree with that. No, we don't want to get ahead with Pabs. Pabs doesn't do anything here. I think we just blast the Mim. Untap the Hops. Say go. Yeah, this is a workshop. I mean, even still, I don't want to necessarily get a little bit more. If I had a Popsicle, like if I could heal them twice, or heal 4 times of this and get 8 lore to go to 12, maybe. Because then I don't need the second one to close out. I don't need the full amount from the second one. Maybe their whole hand is just Maui's. And we just race them with these two. It's kind of the way that it looks. I'm going to try to hold this Teeth for a Gumbo, because that is a line. Hey, Legacy, how are you? So we can Hops Maleficent and then just like untap them both. I guess if they get me with Elsa, it's kind of annoying. We could Teeth the Maui so that Elsa's not really a line. Yeah, let's do that. Well, nah, I still have outs without that. I don't need to do that. I have outs to just kill them with Pabby here. We only need 12, which is just double Pabby with only 3 triggers, which we have on board already, basically. And I just don't think that Maui on its own is necessarily problematic. I suspect a board wipe here then, which is fine. If they like board wipe Arthur or something, we have the Lady Tremaine. It's another reason that I didn't want to commit more resources to this board, because killing the Maui, like... Yes, they do have the Elsa. They're gonna kill Hops? No. Okay. It's fine. Well, that's a card you can draw. Unfortunately, I'm going to give them a bunch of cards here. But I guess it's fine, because we'll get to keep the Scar anyway. Now I'm just wondering if I Tremaine or let it go. I think I Tremaine, because the let it go will be good either way. And then they're nearly dead to the Pabby if they don't wipe the board. 2, 4, 6. That's 14. 18. Not quite. Getting close. Now the onus is on them to do something. Okay, so they did have a Be Prepared. Or they found one at least. And another Maleficent. That's fine. We would really like to draw more draw cards here. Either another Flaversham. A Tamatoa would be a good draw here as well. Popsicle. It's a goat. Goat back to their hand. Goat again. Okay, we found a Popsicle. That's a start. Popsicle, draw 2 cards. And another Gumbo. I'm thinking that we should kill this goat forever. And we should also Maui this. Can do that, and then just say go. I don't care if Mim trades into my Maui here. I would rather they do that than gain any lore, honestly. Okay, they shuffle cards. They play another Maleficent. So I need 6 heal triggers. I have 5. Are we dead to this goat? We can kill this. Then we're dead to bounce. We could try to draw 1 card with the Fishbone Quill. That is not it. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to perish. 1, 2, 3. I guess if the goat's not dead. But if they have another Mim Rabbit, then we're just dead. But I don't know if there's another option that we have here. I can even run out the other Maui to do it. And spread the damage around a little bit. Do this and then say go, I suppose. If they kill me, they kill me. I don't really have another answer, though. That's a shame. Puts them at 18. If they have another goat, that's 19. If they have another goat... Oh, they have a Be Prepared. Okay, I guess we're dead. And that's really awkward. Like... I'd have to go back and watch the games to see... I don't think that we should have lost those games. But I don't know what we're supposed to do against that. Like, he drew more cards than me both games, because we had some pretty awkward draws. Yeah, Mother was 2 off. I wonder, there was that turn where I wiped the board instead of playing Tamatoa. Like, I wonder if letting them do Arthur nonsense that turn and then wiping the turn after would have been better. Like, I don't even know if they're playing Tremaine at all. And I don't think that they're playing the 2-drop bounce either. I don't know what to do against something like that. We needed more velocity in our card draw to actually get more cards than what they were doing, or even keep up. Even keeping up would be fine, and I just don't think we hit it. We were never really in a spot where we had enough cards to do anything against what they were doing. Like, all of their turns were play 3 things that draw another card. So even when we were be prepareding or whatever, they were just drawing 2 or 3 more cards every time. And then we never got to a position, like, if we had ever had the second Pabby, or if we even had one more Popsicle, we would have been able to close there. Such is life. It looks like most of the games are done. We're waiting on the Sapphire Steel versus the Amber Steel. Sorry, Sapphire Steel versus Amethyst Ruby, rather. It looks like it's this matchup right here that we're waiting on. It looks like all of the Amber Steel lost. All of the Amber everything lost, which I guess is kind of interesting. I don't know what it looked like in the second round, of course. Looks like the Amber Amethyst got a win because they got a bye. So we still very well may fight them, unfortunately. I really think that that was a tough game. I don't know. I don't know what I could have done differently there without going back and rewatching it to really know to like really know what spot I scuffed it. If I even did. I mean, maybe I didn't. Maybe the turn where I double high-roamed, I probably didn't need to, and I could have just done something else. And then I would have had an extra resource rather than... Like, I would have had an extra be prepared, but I don't know if that necessarily would have mattered enough, because they may not have be prepped on their side then, which bought us some time. I just think that they really overtuned the Amethyst cards, especially for this set. Like, if we look at just the new ones, like, the stat line on this is almost as good as Maui, and the downside is an upside. So, like, I don't know why this costs 3. Like, it's crazy that it has this stat line with the upside of returning a character. And this being one of the few sources of burn, and this rabbit being literally draw 2 cards. Like, the floor of this is draw 2 cards. If they bounce this or the Yzma it, all of a sudden, like, this single card is drawing them 4 or 6 cards. That's more draw than Flaversham gives on its own by, like, a pretty wide margin. So I'm surprised that people are upset about the Popsicle pile when the Amethyst pile is so much stronger. Like, this is... Like, these 2 cards on their own are, like, absolutely absurd for their... Like, I don't know why the only burn in the deck... Or, sorry, the only burn in the format is in the color that also gets one of the best draw engines. That is very strange to me. Because it's got, you know, the Merlins, it's got the Maleficent from the first set, which is just, like, this was a staple all of the first set. Like, you would, by default, every time that you made an Amethyst deck in set 1, you would start with 4 of these, and then you would add 4 of these to just draw more cards, and then you would go from there. And then they're like, what if we just gave them more draw and then also burn? Yeah, you still do that, absolutely. But then they printed one that's better. This rabbit is even better at doing that. Like, it literally does the same thing, but twice as fast. That's crazy to me. Actually, factually crazy to me. But, okay, so it looks like the Amethyst Ruby 1 here, Amethyst Ruby 1 here, Amethyst Ruby 1 here. So currently it is just Amethyst Ruby all the way down for the undefeateds. I, for one, am shocked by this outcome. Not really. We'll have to see what we end up rumbling against here. I would prefer, I think, it be Sapphire Steel or Amber Steel. It's unlikely that we pair down here. So we'll have to see how far down we end up going. But we'll see what our matchup is. I assume this next round is up, yeah? No, not quite. Although all the matches are done, so I assume it'll fire pretty quick here. I appreciate the follow, Bobby and ST Dot. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Our worst matchup in this that we don't really have much of a shot against is probably the, like the yellow-purple, but I do think that we have a reasonable shot against the Amethyst Ruby decks. Even if we didn't win in that last one, I do think that we have a shot there. Obviously, there were plenty of opportunities for us to draw and kill them. We were very close both games. I even wonder if, instead of using Scar to kill all of their things, if I just used Scar to not kill the 2 that drew a card, if that would have been better. But obviously, without looking at their hand, we don't know that for certain. So we may as well use the Scar to kill them. But when they're in a spot where, like, all of their cards are just draw another card, it's pretty brutal. Either way. So as soon as the next round goes up, we'll battle our next one. I suppose I can update this thing, too. We just straight O2'd. Big sad. But it be like that. Yeah, I really don't know if they were even running this Mim Snake in their deck, because I don't remember seeing one. So that would be a spot where they could make a little bit of extra room, I guess, for the Kuzco. I wonder if they think it's more consistent on turn 2 for them to just run out something that draws another card. Rather than the 3/3. I guess if they're not playing a lot of ones. So the problem with doing that is you need to use a lot of cards. At the time, I didn't have both Gumbos. There is a world where I could have maybe had a turn in there where I, like, Pabby and I gain 8 or something, and then another Pabby just off the top kills them. But you have to use, like, your Pabby plus something to get damage on it as well, which ends up being, like, 2 or 3 cards, and sometimes also a Popsicle just to gain all the stuff. But it is possible that in that game there was a window in there where we could have, when we were at 8, gone to, you know, a more reasonable number, 14 or 16, something where we just have to dig for an additional Pabby to be able to close it out. So that is certainly possible. We are against the up pair, so we're against the purple and red again. It's not my favorite matchup, but we'll see. Yeah, I've played against them a couple of times before. I mean, it really all depends on their hand, right? On whether or not that play works. Because if they don't do removal and they just like kill you instead, then it doesn't end up being good play. And if you never draw the other piece to it either, like the other Pabby, or if we never see the other Pabby, then it's sort of problematic. Honestly, we just needed another Popsicle in play, and 5 damage, and we could have done it. Like 5 damage across 2 characters. No, that's only 10. We needed 6. So we needed the 2 Gumbos and 2 Popsicles, and we had a shot of doing it, but it was a tight spot for us to be in. I go second against purple red. Well, we definitely mulliganed. See what version they're on. Probably Jund, be my assumption. Tamatoa, Popsicle. I could skip the Gothel and just go straight for Maui then, given that we ripped double 1 jump ahead. We'll see what they play on 2. Nothing. Okay, well, let's bin the Tamatoa. 1 jump ahead, say go. There's even a world where, in theory, we could 1 jump ahead and Gothel. Well, that is the only card that we know how to draw, I suppose, so it's fine. 1 jump ahead. Yeah, I guess we're just not running this Gothel out here. Alright, we are at 6 lore, go. They play a Mim and bounce an Olaf. Sure. Well, let's start with a DYB. I don't even have them on a very high number right now either for the ads. I want this Gumbo, so we're never going to get it back if we don't take it. But this just means that we're only going to have 1 Gumbo to combo, but that's fine. We'll keep the develop your brain. I'm sure they have a Maui, that's fine. We develop our brain again. They're gonna use the Maleficent to kill our Flaversham. Sure. That is fine. That is a card that you can play. I don't actually think that's that big of a problem. The spellbook is annoying. We can scar the Mim here. And then untap it. I kind of want to keep the Quill. I'm going to do this, because if we draw the Workshop, I want to be able to draw an extra card. Like, we're going to need to find something to deal with the spellbook here. So we're going to have to find our Judy at some point. There's a Tremaine, that's fine. Here's a Tamatoa, get the Popsicle. Guess I go. So they quest with the Tremaine, that's fine. And then they bounce the Tremaine, also fine, I think. Obviously, I would prefer to have killed it, but that just was not in the cards for us. So I need to get this Maui down then. Let's start with the Popsicle. So we know that they have a Tremaine in hand. This is 4-9. We don't have the ink for that. So I think what we do is we dip the Tamatoa. We run out the Maui. We can run out the shield here for an extra lore. I don't know when I'm ever playing this Quill. Maybe next turn, actually. If they have a Maui, they can Maui and Mim to kill the Tamatoa now. But there's not really much that we can do about that. And also play the Maui to protect from the Tremaine. So it's kind of a crapshoot either way. They can also be prepared. Like, there's a bunch of answers that they have for it. They opt to just Yzma and do shit on their own. They're just going to try and burn us out. Well, that's not ideal. So we kill that first. I'm debating on whether or not I want to draw cards with the Workshop. And then, like, sack a Popsicle for this. I feel like we're supposed to. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this. And then we'll do this. I'm going to need to get rid of this Yzma here, I think. Which we can do for 3 with the Shield of Virtue. I'm just debating on whether or not I can cast another Popsicle before I draw. Guess I don't need another. Like, I'm not going to use 2 of these, I don't think. Because we have the Poisoned Apple. So I can do this and draw 1. And then do the Tamatoa for 5. Get the Popsicle. Untap the Maui. Do this and say go. It's a little weirdly long turn just to get blasted by that, but that's actually fine. Okay, now we can finally blow up the spell book. Let him draw a card, that's fine. We quill, draw a card. We ink something, maybe this. And the apple. And say go. They still have Tremaine, which is annoying. It's likely what they're going to run out here. They're still on the burn me to death plan, I guess. I mean, I suppose that is a line. We quest here. I think we have to kill the goat. I don't think I can afford to eat 2 of the cards in my hand, so I'm just going to say go. Maybe I could have. We'll see. I mean, their whole hand might just be goats, and they're just trying to burn us to death by just playing goat, goat, goat. Like if they play 2 goats here, we're just dead. Okay, that's fine. Give me like 1 turn off, please. Minnie Mouse is annoying, but manageable. Okay, so we don't need another Maurice's Workshop, but this can draw me 2, whereas the Flower Shem is also just 2. I don't even know if Be Prepared is that good for me anymore, but I need more. Okay, I need to dig deeper here. Like, I need more ink is the problem. I feel like I have to keep this Be Prepared, but I think I can get rid of the Flower Sham and say go. I'm trying to figure out which one of these I need more. Depends on how much ink I have. I should probably get rid of 1 because I can't gain enough lore in one go. Hopefully they don't play goats here. If it's just double rabbit, I can Flower Sham to draw cards and then Be Prepared. Lady Tremaine, play another thing? No. Okay, that's fine. So let's start with this. Costs 5. Okay, so we have an extra Teeth and Ambitions now. We can get rid of 1 Popsicle. So we have a line where we leave the Merlin in play. I don't think that's what I want to do. I think I just want to get rid of the Maui. And I want to wipe the board. And then I just want to say go. Draws them 1 card. We have an answer to a spell book. To 1 spell book. We're still pretty dead to goats, which I think is what they're digging for. But if we rip the Pabby off the top, we can just win this next turn. No, we don't. We need a Gumbo. Oh, we need so much shit. We need just so much shit. Feels bad. Okay. That gives us the ability to get to 19. Hope they don't have a goat. We play Tamatoa, get a popsicle. Guess we don't need the Judy anymore. Hope that they don't have a goat. Oh, they have a spellbook off the top. Okay. Okay, guess we're dead. Like, I don't understand why the control deck is also the burn deck. You know? It's fucking obnoxious. Oh my god, I've copy-pasted it with a space. No, another Pabby would have done it, because we only needed to heal twice. So that's 12. This is a good hand. It's an even better hand. Assuming that they don't out-aggro us before we get to play all of our cards, it's a pretty good hand. Teeth and Ambitions is also not bad here. So they have a Minnie Mouse. We don't need the second Gothel. Okay, so they've done nothing. I'm weirdly debating if I want to keep this Tamatoa. I don't think I have to make the choice this turn, because I think I'm going to Flabbersham this turn anyway. And then I think next turn I'm going to Workshop plus Shield of Virtue, probably. If I do that, I don't know when I'm ever playing the Fishbone Quills, is the problem. I don't think we need the second Tamatoa. No, I still think this is fine. Because now we can do Quill, draw a card, do something. And then that'll get us to Tamatoa the turn afterwards. If they're going to mim their mim, that's fine. They're spending a lot of time doing this, dealing with the Flabbersham that we don't need. So it's kind of where we want to be. There's a Tremaine that we could play. I don't think we need to play Tremaine right this second. I'd rather get the Quill down. And then we don't really need this Gothel, not at this point in the game. Maybe we're just not in the Tremaine market, because this Mim is going to be down. And I'd rather just play towards something else. No, we can just get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions and make that choice next turn. I'm debating if I want to play this Workshop and just not draw a card. I think it's fine, because we're planning on Tamatoing, and then we'll just have a Popsicle in hand, and then that just gives us 3 more ink for later. It could cost us 1 card to get 3 ink for later, which I think is fine. Okay, we don't need this. Play Tamatoa. Draw a Popsicle. We ink Tremaine, say go. So we've managed to get a decent ink lead, which is something that is important in these matchups. That we hadn't been able to in the last round. We didn't have the ability to do that. Because this is not that surprising. Tamatoa was mostly just Big Nick here that demands an answer. We are going to need to board wipe soon-ish. Let's play the Popsicle first and just draw a bunch of cards. Can ink the one jump ahead. I'm fine taking this turn off. Which means that we don't need this either. I think I'm okay taking this turn off. The Yzma back, the rabbit, sure. It's fine. Popsicle, draw 3 cards. Scar can kill both of these. We could make it live as well, but that would cost us a Popsicle. That's probably not that bad. So we can gumbo it here. Popsicle it. Since we get to untap it, if we couldn't untap it, it would be different, but since it gets to be untapped, I don't hate it as much. I'm debating on whether or not I want to keep this Judy. I don't know if Spellbook can kill us before we can kill them. Like, realistically. Like, I'd rather them waste 4 on playing a Spellbook and gaining 1 lore. I think we'll just do this, and then we can draw 2 more cards, rather. And then just say go. So they decided to Spellbook here. Which is fine. I don't think we're going to be using these shields at all this game. Okay, so we do that. Ink the 1 jump ahead. Ink the Maui. Do I quest for 2? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to Maleficent this Mem. Actually, no, I can quest here. That's fine. Yeah. It's fine. We are basically done with this Quill now. Not 100% done, but we're pretty close. Play this, get the Popsicle, play the Popsicle. Draw 1, 2, 3. There's another Gumbo. Play the Gumbo, draw all these cards. There's a Gothel. We don't need this Scar. And we don't really need this Let It Go. But we can do this and draw this. Okay, so we've got him dead next turn. believe that we have enough to get them dead next turn. Gumbo, Gumbo, Popsicle. Appears to be 20 to me. Alright, take game 2. We are now on the draw. And then we will try our game 3 here. We are 1-1. We have 25 minutes to still try and cobble together a Pabby kill. Yeah, it's possible that I need to get better at the Pabby, like the single Pabby kills. Like I need to figure out more lines for those. This is not a great hand. The one jump helps. The one jump does help. And I can hold the shield for the Maurice's workshop. We can, in theory, run out the Gothel just as a threat, especially if they're getting rid of their teeth and ambitions. It does threaten the Mims a little bit. I don't think they're playing Arthur, which is good for us. I think we do get rid of the Let It Go, play one jump ahead, say go. Like, I'd rather use these for ink to be able to play the game than run them out, I think. It's an early spellbook. It makes it more vulnerable to Judy, but I can appreciate wanting to still get stuff on the board, though. Another workshop would actually be a pretty good draw. Let's start with this. It's pretty awkward. We're gonna draw one card. 2 cards. I guess I do take the Scar. I take it because it gives us another answer. Maybe because I had the Be Prepared, I'd rather take the ink there, but like if I can hold the Be Prepared, I'd rather do that and kill with the Scar. Maybe the Scar was a bad pick there, actually. Like, the more that I'm thinking about it, the less I like having Scar in my hand. Guess I don't have to make that choice right away. Interesting. I think I am going to use this. I'm going to let them play one more turn, and then we'll wipe the board. I don't love that they have friends on the other side. But they have like 30 cards in their hands, so there's not really much that I can do about it. I could Scar this, keep the Merlin in play. That's an option as well. Let's do this first and then see what we're working with. Because I got another Popsicle here, I think the play is just ink, Let It Go, and then Scar. and then just let Scar die. Because then we can draw 2 with Popsicle and then still be prepared as long as we get an ink. Or we can Lady Tremaine, that's another option as well. The spellbook is bleeding us out here, so we don't have a lot of time to answer it, unfortunately. So it's not looking great here. Lady Tremaine plus the thing, that's fine, because our plan is be prepared, so... I do think I'm supposed to do this. Alright, we can draw both. We can get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions. We can be prep. They can draw 2 cards. Like, I cannot roll my eyes harder that card draws 1 coming and going. The 3rd rabbit. Excellent. My assumption is that they have a Tremaine in hand. It is really unfortunate that we don't have another ink here. Like, really unfortunate. Because it means that I can't Tamatoa, play the Popsicle, and also draw an extra card. Well, I guess our opponent's the burn deck now. Which unfortunately is not good for us. Oh, I didn't Popsicle first. Fuck me, dude. Okay. Well, we spewed. I mean, we're probably dead to the spellbooks anyway, but not having the Popsicle in our hand means we're certainly dead, right? Because now we can't draw any cards. Ah, fuck. I fucked it. That's really annoying. Ah, fucking sequencing. It was supposed to be attack. Alright. Just kill me, I guess. I fucked it. I mean, our opponent's just playing a fucking burn deck, so not much that we can do. Okay, we lost. Alright. We'll see where the rest of the round is at. Like, I like playing this deck a lot, and I do think that it is good and fun, but the online metagame is such that it just isn't viable. Which is really, really sad, but I just don't really see a world where this deck is viable when you can play Amethyst. Which really sucks, because I don't enjoy the Amethyst deck that much, because I really don't like playing the mirrors. I think they're fucking boring. Like, big fucking boring. However, if you like the mirror, let me tell you, you can definitely play purple-red mirrors all day, every day, if you want. That is a legal option. We're waiting on... It looks like the round is done, so the next pairing is going up pretty quick here, or the final one. Looking at the standings, it is Hazed 1. Okay, so it's undefeated, red, purple, red, purple. This is also... Where's the other red, purple? Here? No. Oh, they had to face each other, of course. Yeah, so these three are all red, purple. So it's just red, purple all the way down. So again, if you're really feeling the mirrors, you can do that. If you're not, I mean, there's other decks that you can play. I don't think that we were necessarily out in any of those games, but our draws were such in round 2 that we just were a little bit short. I don't really think that we had much of a shot in that last game, even if I had popsicled properly. I don't think the extra card mattered when our opponent was on all burn. It makes me want to run more Judies. I had been thinking about doing that anyway, because Judying your own stuff isn't miserable sometimes, because it also gets a cheaper threat in play earlier, 2/3, 2 lore, that opens up teeth lines and stuff. But yeah, I don't really know what you're supposed to do against those decks. I can't think of something that reasonably beats them, is my problem. I've looked at the different decks in the metagame, and I just don't know what is super favored against this garbage. They're not even all playing the Pinocchio version, which is just another version. There's even a Steel Amethyst version as well. I don't really know what is favorable against this deck. It is 60% to the whole field, which is fucking insane to me. And it is probably what I'm going to play on stream next when I do play something new, so that we can try it out. There's quite a few different versions of the deck that I'd want to take a look at. I quite like the ones that use all 4 goats and a lot of the spell books, because I think that they are still aggressive enough that they can win in the mirror, but then the spell books allow them to close, which I think is important. But yeah, I mean, when every single card that you play draws another card, your Merlins, your Mims, your other Mims, all of these draw a card. This being a 4/3 rush that draws a card, even if the card that you're drawing is your 1-drop or whatever that you played, that's still fine, because then you can ink it. I think you're supposed to kind of pick one or the other. I don't necessarily think that playing both of them is good, because they're both uninkable. I think that Arthur is maybe a bait, unless you're playing the hyper aggro version, and then you probably play both. I think that Spellbook has more versatility than Arthur, because it lets you be less weak to steal, I think. Arthur LaFoe is really, really hard to deal with. The always keep your thing untapped. But I do think that overall that list is soft to steal compared to the one that has spellbooks in it. Because then you don't have to run your spellbooks out super early necessarily. You can just do the draw a bunch of cards thing. They don't have infinite benches, and they can't afford to hold them forever a lot of times. And it gives you this reoccurring reach in combination with Goat that Arthur really doesn't give. Arthur is a very high lore card, right? It's basically a 3 to 4 lore card, which makes it very strong, but also very fragile to disruption. And I'm not sure if you generally want to be... You have to assume that you're going to play the mirror a lot. And you have to assume that you're going to end up playing against steel a lot as the thing that you're weak against. So I don't know if I necessarily want to be playing a card that's not amazing in the mirror. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't really played enough games with either of them, I guess. I'm sure that it's draw dependent, just like most mirrors are. and that your deck choice probably doesn't matter. Like whoever draws more rabbits and Maleficents and just like has a 60 card hand is probably favored. The few games that we did do well here, that we did win, I felt quite favored in. But every time that I looked at my hand versus my opponent's hand, it has felt like we had half the cards that they did, and our deck is designed to draw cards. Which makes you wonder why I'm not just running this. Though I think I'm still going to build the Sapphire deck in paper, because I think it'll at least be fun, and that's really the only thing that matters in this game, right? Fun is like the most important part, and I having played this deck some, like the Amethyst deck, there might be a build of it that I can find, because it's just like not that good is the problem. Like the cards that are good in the deck, Coat Sickles. So the cards that are good in the deck to really push you over the edge are like Be Prepared. So you're just doing stuff, and then also you Be Prepared them, so they can't overcommit into you either. You can Tremaine and then bounce the Tremaine back. You can Maleficent, bounce the Maleficent back. You don't have to run that many red cards for the red to be incredibly impactful. I've tried the purple-blue version. You can increase your steel matchup a little bit, because you can run Cogsworth. But like the ramp part of it just doesn't really... It isn't necessary, I guess. Because you want to be... Oh, good. We're going to die real quick then. Excellent. Well, at least this will be fast. We played against Popsicles one time, and then the rest of it was Amethyst all day. Yeah. It is... it is indeed the Amber Amethyst player. Yeah, we'll try. I mean, honestly, I don't even think the Gothel is that good. It's okay. Like, Gothel and Teeth, you can slow them down some, but... Like, they can literally just mim Rabbit and get all their cards back, and they end up killing you anyway. Alright, well, I'm join up. I don't necessarily think that the Amber Amethyst deck is the one that you want to bring to tournaments a lot. Because just like what happened here, they also have 3 points, and one of them was from the bye, so they were getting bullied by the non-Popsicle decks, basically. We're going second, I guess. Woof. That is a start. Well, at least we got 2 more games to play. Maybe I'm confusing their deck. Maybe it's something else. Doesn't really change our play pattern that much. We maybe wouldn't have kept the second Gothel, but I still think I maybe run out the 1 jump. I'd probably do a Gothel, given our texture. Depends on what we draw. If I draw a Popsicle, I would consider doing the 1 jump ahead first. Interesting. Rapunzel. Yeah, there's a Pinocchio. Yeah, I guess we do... Just run out 1 Gothel, and we're gonna probably not be able to... Ugh, this hand is abysmal. We're on the draw, so it's fine. I don't even know if this hand is good on the play. possible that these B preps will be good. Our best draw here is a Popsicle or a Gumbo. Popsicle would be better. We drew a Gumbo. It's got to be this. I don't think this second Gothel's making it. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Makes this teeth turn into ink pretty easily. But I don't know if... we can get to the point of B prep before we're just dead. They have 2 ink in play, by the way. Excellent, a Simba. Okay. I guess we'll try on the play. Unfortunate. Maybe if I run the second one out, but like we didn't have any ink. Jesus. Okay. Is there ever a world where we need this Shield of Virtue in play early? No. I don't think so. Essentially, there's never a time that I can Maui and also untap the Maui. I don't think inking them ahead is going to help us. Like, we want them to use resources on that. Yeah, nobody played purple's crazy. Actual craziness. Yeah, I'm leaning towards the purple decks that, not these ones, but the other ones. So, I feel like I have to put some pressure on. I don't think that I can be prepared here. So I have to use too many of my resources to do it. I think I need to Maui. Just kill the Pinocchio here. I think I would be playing the version that runs like 6 to 7 of the 1-3 and Teeth and Ambitions. Because it interacts with this, and then eventually you just win by doing the other bullshit that this deck does. Well, that's not ideal. Now they just have a Pinocchio in play forever. We may have to just kill it with Flabbersham. We'll see. This Quill might be going to the farm to draw 2 cards, and then we Maui it instead. We'll see what they play. I very well may have to be prepared if they just, like, dump 3 more cards out. Which they could do. The worst card I could imagine here. If I don't board wipe here, none of these cards do anything. We go to 17 either way. I guess I do this. And we just hope that their hand isn't just goats and fucking spellbooks. Because if they dump like 3 cards out, we just do this again. Yeah, if I don't kill the goat, they can just bounce it, which is not great. Rapunzel. Yep. Dad Blast. Oh my goodness. You know what they never play around is the 3rd Be Prepared. And yet we're still not in a good spot. We're just dead on board. Amazing. Okay. Just dead. Because I can't remove this turn. So they, Okay. Alright, we're dead. Okay. Nothing I can do about it. Such is the metagame right now. So we end with a 1-3 record. Which is a bit of a sad showing. I don't really know if there is a better way to build this deck that actually doesn't just destroy your ability to play the other games. But even the Pabby combo felt bad today against Popsicle or Pop Culture. We had a spot where we could have Pabbied if we draw the other one and we just didn't find it. Or if we drew another heal even. And then they killed us. Which makes me wonder if I need the noise back or maybe just more Judy's just for more early pressure from ourselves. And then we literally just got burned out in all the other ones. So, what are you going to do? Sometimes you just get burned out. Standings-wise, like, even if they cut to top 4, we're not likely going to make it. So, we are done here then, unfortunately. I still really like the Popsicle deck. There's other versions of it that probably do have a better matchup against things like this. You can run more early game cards. You know, you sort of take out the Gumbo package. You can run the 1/3 1-drops as well. Pair them with Teeth and Ambitions the same. I think that improves this matchup a little bit, but I don't really think it does anything here, except allow you to protect from Tremaine a little bit, just because it gives you a 1-drop that you can kind of sneak down with your Tomatoas or whatever. I fear that this is going to be the metagame for a long time with this set, just because if I'm being truly honest, I think Amethyst is the best color, and I don't even know if it's particularly close, which is exactly the reason that we see undefeated. My money is on Will here to win this as well, unless they somehow got pared down into something else. Yeah, GG. I mean, I just played against purple all day. I got my one matchup that wasn't purple, I won very easily, but the rest of it was just purple all day. I don't think you can really play a serious deck that isn't Amethyst something, but I'm not sure how much I want to play the Amethyst Mirrors all day. but maybe that's just the game right now. So, yeah. I will probably be putting this up on YouTube, so hello YouTube if you're there. I'm going to check and see if anybody else is streaming, but I think I'm going to be done for right now, at the very least. I don't know if there is any other Lorcana on right now, which is fine. At least if there is, I don't see them. Oh, we can send you over here. I think they're doing live Lorcana, so that's neat. I think they're just doing Lorcana trading, which I think is awesome. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you over there. It's a retail store. They're doing some Lorcana trading. So I hope that that's great here. Yeah, no problem. Always a good time. Sad that I'm not doing better in these tournaments, but I don't really think that playing steel is necessarily the answer, because I think you can just play ruby amethyst and just play 1/3s for 1, and then you can kill 2 cards very easily with it, or you can kill 1 and bounce your thing, and it's fine. It makes the little Tremaine very good because it drains lore. You shift the other Tremaine, hit something, bounce it back to your hand, replay the little one again. I don't necessarily think that the little aggressive version of it is where I'd want to be most of the time, because I don't think that the steel amber really is beating up on these decks anymore. They've adjusted how they play so that swords doesn't just blow them out. But it is what it is. So I'm going to send you over here. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to follow.